Thank you, Corey and David. Oh, how beautiful. A beautiful way to start service. And welcome, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good. I'm great, too. Thank you. Thanks. What a lovely day. Boy, so nice to see everyone here. I see a new face or two, so welcome. Really glad that you found your way to the fellowship on this Sunday. And we are going to, let's see here, hold on just 1 second. We're going to start with a prayer of the child of love. And so if you are able, everyone stand, and we'll sing. The song is right on the front cover of your book, Prayer of the Child of Love, written by Corey. Is by divine appointment. So before we do our opening meditation, I just wanted to bring your attention to your packet that is with your, it should be right with your program, your guide, yeah, and I do this every time. Thank you. So you'll have a financial card. If you have a financial gift, please feel free to put something in there. We also have a connection card, and on the back is you can list someone that you would like to have some special prayers for later in the service. So if you'd like to to take a little time to fill that out, and we'll have time later on in the service just for a special just a honoring and a special blessing we'll send to those names. And if you have any new information, any updates on your email, or if you are new, if you'd like to receive our e-announcements, please fill out the other side. And you can just put your name and your email, so we'll be able to contact you and just let you know about some things going on and say hello to everyone online too. Glad that you're here. And just take another minute if you want to finish, if you're writing those names, and then we'll start with our opening meditation. So I'll invite you to close your eyes or gaze downward. And just doing what feels comfortable to you, to go inward. I invite you to just take a moment to find a nice comfortable position with a nice upright spine. Open position across our chest. Seated on top of the sit bones and finding all four corners of your feet. Really feeling the earth beneath the floor. And we'll take some slow, deep breaths in together. And preparing ourselves for some centering, inner listening, just to help us align with the divine. So taking a nice slow in-breath and a nice slow, deep out-breath. And that can be through your nose or your mouth. And we'll do a few breaths like that. Nice, slow, deep breath in, filling into your lower belly, lower ribs. And just a nice, slow exhale. See if we can lengthen that exhale. It helps us to just settle our nervous system and helps us to be more present. And one more breath like this. Inhaling, filling, and exhaling. Slow emptying. Really lengthening that exhale. And just noticing the softening and the rhythm and the flow of your breath now. Just that natural breath. And just softening into your position right where you are, your seated position. Softening the muscles in your face, your shoulders, your arms, legs. And if you find it helpful, if you place your left hand across your heart and your right hand on your low belly, low rib area. And just noticing the breath, how it's softened and slowed. And by slowing down the breath, notice how that helps quiet our minds. We're just slowing down the thoughts, our mind, and just drifting down and down, floating into our heart space. And finding this connection to this sanctuary within. This space of warmth, peace, and love. And knowing this space is always available to us. And allowing yourself a moment out of your busy day just to rest in the heart. Feeling the oneness and aliveness. And then envision the soles of your feet opening and roots dropping down into the earth. And these roots spreading out to everyone here and those watching virtually. Just feeling this connectedness, this groundedness, a web of love, of community, of deep care. And then let's send this out to everyone we know in need. It's anchoring this love and light. And while in this calm, reflective state, I'd like to read a section from the Course in Miracles. It's lesson 222. God is with me. I live and move in Him. He is my source of life, the love within, the air I breathe, the food by which I am sustained, the water which renews and cleanses me. He, love, is my home, wherein I live and move, the spirit which directs my actions, offers me its thoughts, and guarantees my safety from all pain. Love covers me with kindness and with care. Father, Mother, we have no words except your name upon our lips and in our minds as we come quietly into your presence now and ask to rest with you in peace a while. And we'll take a deeper breath in and out together, and just slowly coming back, taking your time into your space, into this space, moving your shoulders, a gentle shake, perhaps, and just being present here. And I do have to show you my book, guys. This is my course book. It is so silly. It is really just full of different tabs, and I was just laughing if someone saw it, but it is definitely one of a beloved book. And now it is my great privilege to introduce our, let's see, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Let's see, David Meter. Yes. Thank you so much.
We'll help you, Corey, on this one.
Thank you. Thank you, David. So grateful that you're here today. That was just beautiful. And now it's time for our song and a fellowship song. Excuse me. It's Let Me Remember on page 27. So if you're able, you can stand or feel free to sit as well. So 27, Let Me Remember.
Let me remember I am one with God, at one with all my brothers and myself in everlasting holiness and peace. Oh, let me remember, let me remember, let me remember I am one with God. Let me remember I am one with God, and one with all my sisters and myself in everlasting holiness and peace. Oh, let me remember, let me remember, let me remember I am one with God.
Yes, and we'll have our greetings, so we can do a namaste or a greeting, however you feel comfortable with. Just saying hi. We have, I think, a few new people, so welcome, especially.
And I heard somebody said that Star.
Always the best part of service.
It's bizarre. It looks more good. Yeah, it kind of looks like a train.
You want to see this? Do you want to check to see if it's green?
Okay. Oh, it's so good to see everybody. Oh, new faces and faces that haven't been here in a while, and
Wait, just one.
everyone. And welcome again to those online. So just such an important, wonderful time of our service. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce our wonderful fellowship, Richard Lansing, both a speaker and author. So grateful that he is going to be presenting to us today. Okay, applause for Richard.
Hi, everybody. How are you all today? On the way over today, was driving by, I stopped at a stoplight, and there's a homeless guy standing there with his cardboard sign. Maybe you've seen them throughout the town, I have come to the conclusion that I can feel their need, and so what I do is I give out granola bars, he came over and he's disheveled and missing a few teeth, and he looked me in the eye and said, "God bless you." And I said, "God bless you." And for that instant, we just connected. And I thought maybe that's as good as it gets. I don't know how to fix his situation, but I do care about them. Thought I'd share that with you. A few weeks ago, Mary was up here and she talked about the concept of reincarnation in her messages. And the late astronomer Carl Sagan had said years ago that he thought that the concept of reincarnation should be thoroughly studied, as there was strong evidence to suggest that for some people, consciousness survives death. And in the intervening years after his death, the University of Virginia, at the perpetual perceptual studies department, they had done university-based research into the matter, and without a penchant about trying to make conclusions, just gathering information. And over their 30 or 40 years of existence, they had documented thousands and thousands of cases worldwide of people who purported to have been reborn as a new person. And some of them were so overwhelmingly odd in that children as young as 3 and 4 years old spoke foreign languages on rare occasions that they never were raised with. Some children had remembered past lives in towns that they've never been to and had described them in great detail, proving to be accurate as well. So currently, we view the universe, as through scientific eyes as this vast, huge place. Great distances between the stars and the galaxies, and a rather cold, dark place. And my question is that if there was some truth to reincarnation, that if consciousness actually survived death, wouldn't that change our perception of the universe? I think that this is the path that where spirituality and science finally come together. That maybe this huge place that we call our universe isn't so cold, dark, and distant after all. A while back, on a lark, a friend and I were in Gaylord at a cottage, a friend of mine, and we decided to do a meditation, a past life meditation. And I must say it was probably one of the most bizarre things that had happened to me up at that point. And that it's really basically a meditation of calming and focusing, to be able to go through this progression of just going back in time gently. And we did it as a lark, and I had done her, and she then began doing me. And when we got back to about when I was around my birth, and she said, "Now go back further." And it was just like all of a sudden I was just flooded with information that I never even dreamt of before. I remembered my name. The year was 1632. I remembered how I died. And I remembered the people that were in my life at that time who are in my life again. I could see it, and I could feel it. And it was just like, where did that come from? It's like very strange. I was a Native American, and I went by the name of Hemenia. And I have never even dreamt of things like that before. I have no great affinity towards the tribes of North America, but it was an interesting experience. But I think meditation is really an important part of answering our questions. I went to a Buddhist wedding a couple weeks ago. Have any of you been to the Buddhist temple on Martin Luther King Street? Yeah, it's really quite interesting. I think it's the old Casa Loma restaurant they converted into a Buddhist temple. And it was delightful. They're really big into meditation. And it's very interesting is that what their practices are not terribly dissimilar to what we do here. And one of the things that they quote, and it's from Buddha, he says, Buddha was asked, "What have you gained from meditation?" And he answered, "Nothing. But let me tell you what I have lost. I have lost anger, anxiety, depression, insecurity, fear of growing old, and I lost the fear of death." And that's just interesting how that parallels with what the Course in Miracles has talked about. And it has said, in quietness, all things are answered. The great mystic Rumi had also weighed in on this matter, and I'll read you one of his quotes. "Silence is essential. We need silence just as much as we need air, just as much as plants need light. If our minds are filled with words and thoughts, there is no space for us." So, today's talk is going to be a little bit different. So I see myself not as here to tell you how to run your life or what to do. But as a facilitator, what I'd like to do is that we're going to do a walking meditation today. The weather is nice, and we really need to take advantage of this beautiful space that we have. And so Julie is going to lead us outside. And let me tell you what we'll do. David is going to play some music. And there's a path that goes around the perimeter of the property. And I want you to walk slowly. Feel the earth under your feet. Feel the air, the coolness. Be fully present. And take your time as we take 2 laps around, and then we'll reassemble. I think that this is a technique of just calming the mind. And by doing so, I have to tell you, I bought a clarinet a couple of weeks ago, and I'm awful, but if you practice something, you get better at it. And I can already see that I'm better than I was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it's so it is with meditation, is that if you practice it, there are benefits that come through that. And so I thought, let's give that a try today. And so we're going to head outside, and for those people online, I will talk to you as we're doing this, and we'll head out the back door. And for those of you that are somewhat physically challenged, you can walk indoors if you like, and Julie will lead you, and I will be heading out there with you. And for once, you get to be a part of the meditation and not have to do anything other than be there.
I don't know if I know how to do that.
And so we're just taking some time to experience this place at this time. Feeling the earth under our feet. And for you that are online, I wish you were here. You could smell air has a certain tanginess to it. The vibrant colors, hearing David's music. Taking the time to find this perfect piece of heaven. If you're home, you can do this in your room, in your home, or later. This is a sacred place. Take the time to feel the peace. There is peace in every step. And as you walk, you can recite that. I am at peace. It's just a lovely day. Join us in this peaceful practice. There is peace in the silence. So how did that feel? It's a little different. But like I said, my role here is to help you find answers to your own issues of your life. And I think through mindfulness and meditation, we can do so. One of the things that I've often asked myself and have meditated on is the question about why do bad things happen to good people? And, I'm going to pass out some cards here, and I want you to think about it, and I will try to reveal what my answer to that question is. Hang on a second. Julie, would you like to pass these out? It doesn't matter what they get as long as they get one. So you have a card, and on it there might be a letter or a number or a symbol or a little squiggle or something. And take a minute to think about that, what is in front of you. Because I think the answer to that question about why bad things happen to good people can be found on your card. This is what I came up with. Is that the marking on your card is the color black. Black really isn't any type of light at all. It's the lack of presence of light. But it only can manifest because of the white background. Now ask yourself that if there wasn't white, you wouldn't be able to see the black. And that goes to the duality of much of our worldly experiences. For example, if everything was the same temperature, would we know the difference between hot and cold? They did a movie years ago called Pleasantville. It was a lark about a couple and kids who ended up going back to the 1950s to this beautiful Leave It to Beaver setting in black and white. And they have television, and the Weather Channel always says 72 and pleasant every day. And I came to understand is that in heaven, love is all there is. But there's a difference between being love and experiencing it. So what would be the opposite experience of love? Any ideas? Indifference, fear. And yet, it's an absolute requirement. I'm not a biblical scholar by any means, but the story of Adam and Eve is really a template of what we're talking about. Is that up until the time they were in the garden, they lived in paradise, as it is explained in Genesis. And it was only after that they were cast out of paradise that they believed that the first sin occurred. My interpretation is that was the first blessing, because without having something to compare it to, they never understood or could experience the value of heaven or paradise. So in many ways, this little card that we have in front of us is an illustration of the necessity of both opposites. That's part of the human experience. Ask a homeless person the value of a good home, and his response would be much different than the person who's always had a home. We can't experience hot without some sense of cold. You can't experience safety without having some threat. And so why would we do that? Why would so many of these things happen? I don't have answers for everyone, but I do understand and see that if I desire to experience profound love in this incarnation, I must also experience its opposite in order to have the value, the contrast, to be able to understand what that is. As somebody who's suffered from insanity, who's been restored, their concept of sanity is much different than someone who's never lost it. And so I just offer these things, for you to contemplate, and answers are within ourselves. I'm not here to tell you what the answers are for your life. But I think through our meditation and mindfulness and this continuous practice, that we can get better and better at it. We can touch truth. We can find the voice. We can hear the message. But if we constantly have our television on or on the internet, it kind of gets lost in all the noise that's there. So in the quiet, the message comes through. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be with you all here today. And thank you very much.
So while we're in this theme, I'm just going to try to play a song that I did on my first record. It's called Reflections. It's just about being in nature, hearing the natural intelligence. It's basically what he's talking about, tuning into the nature around you and getting your answers. I had to interrupt the technical setup. Miss that, please. You gotta pay for this stuff if you want it to work right. So I'm going to skip the background. Just listen to nature through your own playing.
so much. And Richard, thank you. That just was so beautiful. The integrating between the two of you, being outside, everything. Just so lovely. Thank you. And now we're going to just take a moment. John's going to come around and pass a basket, and we're taught in the Course in Miracles that giving and receiving is one in truth. And just wanted to say a big thank you for all the generous gifts that you give to the fellowship in so many ways. So really appreciate that. And don't forget that card that if you put down names of people to pray for, but as John's coming around, if you put the card in the basket, and we'll just have we'll take a moment or two just for an additional prayer. Thank you, John. And let's just take another moment to go within and look the best way that feels to you. Perhaps close your eyes or gaze downward. And let's just envision a blanket of love, just covering all of those that are listed, the names listed in the cards here in the basket or in your hearts, and those online, those names, we are seeing them enveloped by love. We are seeing the truth of each person, their whole perfect nature. Let them know and truly receive our love and blessing. And like it said in the Course in Miracles, that help them to feel the great care and kindness that is part of their nature, that we all have. Just envisioning each person held with such tenderness and deep love. And may it be so. Okay, and just coming back to our space, let's see, we're going a little bit over, but we have one fellowship song and it's one of my favorites, so I hope you don't mind. Just a little bit over, and it's on page 42. We are one family.
We are one family, only one family, filling the universe with perfect light. Children of destiny, living in harmony, loving our unity, shining bright. Good times and bad times have come our way, bringing us home to the love in this day. family, only one family, filling the universe with perfect light. Children of destiny, living in harmony, loving our unity, shining bright, searching and questioning, trying to find peace and contentment of quiet mind, seasons and passages that never end. Now is the moment that peace begin. We are one family, only one family, filling the universe with perfect light. Children of destiny, living in harmony, loving our unity, shining bright, shining bright. We are one family, living light.
Thank you. Oh, that sounded so good. Thank you, everyone. And we just have a few announcements. And let's see, well, our director, our Reverend Mary Sabai, will be back next week, which will be wonderful. Can't wait to hear about her vacation. There's a Deaf Cafe this Saturday at 2 o'clock at the Fellowship office. If you would like any more details, let me know after service. There's a sound bath session with Julie Ross this Wednesday, the 23rd. It's at 2 Wednesdays at 6:30 at the Fellowship office. And if you haven't been to one, they're just wonderful. And I'll have to see if she's doing that. Sometimes she'll have them online too. So you could do both, in person or online. And Healing Movement class, that's with me, on Mondays at 6 o'clock. And is there any other announcements that anyone would like to add? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for a really wonderful service. And I love just the music was just so heartfelt, and being outside, everything. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for those online. Big thank you to David Meter for being here, and Corey Williams, and Richard Lansing for that wonderful talk, Samantha for broadcasting, and all of us, this one family that we all are. I love it. All right, and so now I'll invite you to join our Peace Circle. So if that's new to you, there on the back of the bulletin is the words to the song. You can just bring that with you as we make a circle.
On earth, and let it begin with me. Let every peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God.